So, question I have for all you at this stage is, do you believe? Right? Meaning, do you believe that's something I want you to challenge yourself with? Do you believe that your body is the world's greatest chemical factory, better than any man-made factory, can synthesize any compound known to humanity? Right? And you trigger, do you believe you can stimulate your own stem cells and all these things, right? Do you believe you can take a sip of an herb, feel where it goes in your body or different organs, different meridians, and have an intimate relationship with plants that way to validate what you're learning everywhere else? Do you believe you can pulse someone and pulse their life? Do you? Do you believe all? Do you believe you can heal? Do you believe other people can heal? What do you believe? So I just want you all to keep thinking about this. Do you know what I'm trying to say? Do you believe that plants can be magical? Do you believe that there's one magical plant where every person has their maybe one archetypal plant or medicine wheel, and it's a mystery to try to find it? Or for yourself, right? To unlock your own power. Do you do you believe that you're competent enough to help people? Because you are, right? You're beyond qualified already, right? What do you believe? And I hope you are always challenging that, right? Like we said earlier this year, to know Tai Chi, to understand how to walk a balance with your head in the clouds and your feet on the ground, right? Do you believe these things? And then can you validate them yourself? If you're not achieving what you think you want to achieve, what's what is it? What's the barrier, right? What's the barrier? Do you believe there's a end of mastery, right? Do you believe you just can get to a certain level, or do you believe it's like endless? You never, ever, ever, ever stop. Keep growing, 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 getting better, 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 right? I don't know. I mean, it's up for you to decide these things. But do you believe? And who said, right? That's the big thing. That's what I love Master Chen for, always constantly challenging people and saying, who said that? Who said you can't like heal your liver? Who said you can't pulse somebody and feel their life? Like who said that? And who put that into your brain? Who put that into your reality? Right? That's for you to decide. So yeah, we want to walk the balance between having our head in the clouds, meaning inspired thinking and endless thinking, but we also want to be grounded at the same time and check ourselves, right? Right? That makes sense. What's everybody thinking when I pose that question? What's the first thing you all think of? I have a hard time with flower. I do too. I have a very hard time with flower essence at times. And then I constantly reprove them. And then I constantly ask, why am I not taking them every day? Why isn't everybody taking them every day? And then I'll kind of start to forget about them a little bit. Yeah, this is normal. This is just part of being a practitioner, being a human being, right? These things we constantly have to reprove to ourselves. Some people are probably in positions where they're getting more feedback from people that they're helping. We don't always get that feedback, you know. Sometimes when you're practicing, it's so much feedback, it's a lot of pressure sometimes. Like, ooh, okay. They're not getting better. How am I helping the person to be inspired and also practical, right? Right. Um, What do you think about this? What else besides flower essences, or what else do you find yourself brushing up against, like doubting yourself or doubting some part of theory or something? Anything else?
Well, I think the things I try fail at least half the time.
Hmm. So a failure is not necessarily always a failure either, right? Maybe we're just using the wrong dose, that's what's so fun about herbal medicine, the wrong time of harvest, there's so many possibilities, right?
Confounding
A
factors
lot
that
of
make it difficult to
confounding.
know
Exactly.
what's what. And then
Yeah.
the times that they do what I hope that they will, there are also confounding factors at
Mm-hmm.
play.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And I can't fake the scientist in me wanting
Yeah.
to be able to say, this is what this
Mm-hmm.
is, this did it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Very much should all, I hope, have like a medical detective type energy about yourselves by now, right? Trying things, and even if they don't work, asking yourself, why did this not work? Like we talked about Saturday, like, what am I missing about my own understanding of theory? Maybe it just wasn't a constitutional match. Maybe it was the delivery method was wrong. Maybe, needed to give yellow clover as a tea instead of a tincture. Maybe gave too much, not enough. Um, maybe the whole assessment's off, right? Maybe I just had the whole wrong system, and that's normal, right?
And sometimes herbs take time, and
Mm-hmm.
sometimes herbs
Mm-hmm.
you can see a difference in a day.
Mm-hmm.
Like when I was in bed, I couldn't eat. I was really bad, and I took some of the Chinese formulas,
Mm-hmm.
and I was just in a few minutes I was better, and I was
Yeah.
able to eat, and I was
Yeah.
able to be
Yeah.
out of the bed.
Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, I hope you all have this, yeah, balance between the inspired and the practical, right? It's very inspiring to find your constitutional type formulas because it's an amazing feeling. I just reminded myself of one of my constitutional things the last 2 weeks, and it just really, whoa, just really like pulled me up a lot. So, um,
To treat yourself.
it's always hardest. I would say for me, it's hardest to treat myself when I don't get it right the first time. Then I start really second guessing myself. Typically, like we said, once you know your constitution, you kind of always know what works. Once you find it, sometimes I actually keep very detailed notes on my own health, like every problem, every amazing positive reaction I've had, I have detailed notes and what all the lead up was, and we all have health struggles at times. It's just part of human body. So like, I mean, you should see some of my notes with when I've had like struggles at times where just did I do Tai Chi this day? Yes. Okay. Did I not? Okay. Like this detective work, like trying to find every confounding factor I may have changed that day, or what diet I did, or how stressed I was, or what emotion did I have specifically, for me, I find when I don't sleep, everything starts to kind of like get out of balance. As a kapha person, right, that's very basic Ayurvedic medicine, but we like to convince ourselves. We can always push the rules. Remember? Remember the first time, yeah, I discovered like multivitamins and adaptogens. I was pretty young, like in high school, and thought, why does everybody, how could anybody ever get sick ever in the history of the world? And then, then eventually you kind of crash. So get discouraged about it. Like, oh man, I thought I had it all figured out. Dang it. But yeah, I just want you to think about that. If there's something that is making you not get results or be doubtful about something, it's fun to play with it instead of like run away from it or judge it, like flower essences, you know, just I think it's fun to like, I'm gonna take flower essences, like one a week, a different one for what I think would be good. And then have like your partner read a little guide and be like, what, don't tell me what you're gonna give me. Just you find a remedy and give it to me and just see getting out of your mind like how that affects. Just I like to do stuff like that constantly. So always detective, right? Right. That's why I love to listen to cold cases and unsolved mysteries because like there's always the clue was always there, right? And when any case they solved, the clue was always in the evidence box. They just for some reason didn't follow it or something. Hmm? Mm. Linda brought that, yeah, from the Black Bear Diner.
think we all have,
Mhm.
I know I have through the
Mhm.
journey, doubt, some
Mhm.
things to doubt.
I had been thinking about that question because the scientist said that he didn't believe in God, but he was checking how the human anatomy, how it works, and he said God must exist because everything is so perfect. Like our body works so perfect.
Sure, yeah, it's amazing. It's miraculous, right? That we're all breathing, living, walking upright. Bowl of jello that we are. I mean, it's just considering we still can't define consciousness, that's a pretty basic scientific question that we can't understand medically where emotions are living at. You know, it's just an interesting thing. So, yeah. So challenge yourself if you're feeling uninspired or getting results. Always ask yourself also why did this work for the person? Like why was this amazing? Right. And I always tell you too, I think it's great when you're starting out to do the 3-drop dose on people. It's just the best way to prove to yourself. Right. If you have family or friends or clients or people you're trying to help, just give them 3 drops, whether it's a tea or tincture of what you think they need, and just sit back and witness how bizarre and unlogical it is that somebody, even that doesn't believe in any of it, could be like, oh, I feel this change. And they give you that face like, oh, this is weird. And then the second thought is like, what did you just do to me? You know, when people feel something and they don't believe in it, they go, what do you, they're always something like, what did you do to me? Did you just give me drugs? Did you do something, you know, weird to me?
That's kind of what Paul is saying, like his general resistance to using his own gifts.
Yeah.
It's like,
Yeah.
You know, and that's what Paul's saying.
Part of what I was, yeah, trying to say, like Paul's saying, what I was thinking of when I was driving here, my daughter who was upset she had to be here with me today. Um, Part of what we talked about a while ago too was following your nature. So how you believe should be linked with your nature, meaning some people feel stuff. Like I can drink this tea and tell where it goes in my body, every organ, every meridian. Okay. But I was born that way. That's just wired that way. And some of you probably feel the same. Some people maybe can see things, see phenomena, or see it go to places in people's body. Some people might, even though they can't see it or feel it, almost, I don't know how to describe it through intuition, you can know where it goes, but people have a hard time explaining how that we're almost like a knowing, right? Some people feel energy, some people don't. So a lot of this, what I want you to think about, if your belief too, is just following your nature, developing your strengths, embracing your strengths, understanding your weaknesses, knowing what they are. It's very helpful. Training those eventually, right? Training your weak areas eventually. But just, yeah, really embracing your strengths and kind of running with it, especially as you're learning, right? Some people can memorize phenomenally, and others of you are probably have this just comprehensive, big picture overview of medicine and natural medicine and assessment. They're both good, like the big picture and the specific memorization, but the more we can merge them, the better. But you got to go with what works for you, right? And there are certain days, certain gifts are going to be more there, right? This is why I'm a big fan of really understanding the medicine and the theory and memorizing some, because there's going to be days where you're off. Your pulses might not feel a lot. You might be distressed or distracted, and you better have good memorization at that point so you can just go into this all-out assessment and just clinically walk through it. There's other days where you might not do an assessment at all. You're just free forming it. You're just going with it, and it's flowing beautifully, but that's not always there, and that's normal, right? It's all normal. So think about it. What do you believe? How much do you believe what you believe? You know, a lot of people are really secure in what they believe till you start to question them or life questions them, right?
I think coming from the background to herbal background,
Mm-hmm.
when things in medicine seem so like distant,
Mm-hmm.
it's nice to have another side of medicine that a
Yeah.
little bit more free and so
Mhm.
rigid.
Mm-hmm. For sure. I actually find that like natural medicine people tend to agree more about a like a say an individual patient than two doctors that are the same specialists will often fight more than or disagree more than two people looking at like the big picture. So it's interesting. Any other thoughts? Just like something I wanted to challenge you all with. No, like Rachel, we're encouraging her to teach a class. She's going to teach it, and teas her jam. So she's going with tea, right? Why would you, if you're going to all start teaching and, getting out there, right? You want to, don't teach something you're not super passionate or comfortable with. Teach something that you really, really, really enjoy and know, right? Right? Or you could challenge yourself to teach something, yeah. Okay. Okay.
Well, we start the next recording. Forgot I did have a question. Do you have a book recommendation for physical assessment?
Yeah, we're gonna do assessments. So let's stop the do you believe section, or what do you believe here?
Navigate, that was what